Okay, our next assignment is creating a slimy looking text with ooey gooey drops of slime coming off of it. We are going to be using it in Photopea, and this is a pretty technical one. There's a lot of settings to change. There's a lot of things to download. So please take advantage of that pause button. Pause and then do the next step. Okay, to start this project, we're going to be opening and closing Photopea a couple of times. I am demonstrating this on a Chromebook, so I can make sure that my screen looks just like yours. If you're using something other than a Chromebook and any of these questions you can't translate into a non-Chromebook computer, just ask your teacher for help. So in Google Classroom, one of the attachments to the assignment is called Sllme. So go ahead and double click on that, and it'll open up in a preview screen like this. So we need to go ahead and download that. To download that, we're going to click on this little down arrow, and you hover over it. It says download. I'm going to click on that. It's going to bring up my dialog box, and I'm going to put it in my downloads so that it's easiest to find later, and click save. It's going to tell me it's downloaded. It's all done. Life is great. I'm going to go ahead and open Photopea. And it doesn't really matter if you open from computer or start a new project from right here, because we're just going to close it right away anyway, and we're not even going to save our project. So I just created a new project. I didn't care about the dimensions. I don't care about anything like that. But I want to go ahead and click on my text tool. And then I want to open my text list. And once that opens, I'm going to load font. So once that screen, my dialog box opens up again, I'm going to find my Sllme Text, and I'm going to open it. It's going to ask you if you want to load Sllme the next time you use Photopea. You're going to click OK, and it's going to load that font. Now you're going to want to just go ahead and close Photopea at this point. So just click close. You haven't created anything, so it doesn't matter. It's not going to ask you to save. So it brings you back to this screen again, which was your tab that you had open. The next thing you want to do is you want to click the preview for the slime background JPEG that is also part of the assignment. Now you might have the option, if you click on Open With, to open with Photopea. If you have that option, go ahead and click it. If you don't have that option, you can click on the download button and download it just like you downloaded the text file that we just finished, the Sllme file. So I'm going to download it here, and then it's going to tell me it's all done. I'm going to open my Photopea, and I'm going to choose Open from Computer. So I'm going to use that one this time. And it's going to open my files that I have on my Chromebook. I'm going to find the downloads, and I'm going to open my slime background. Now, if you had Photopea on that Open With drop-down menu, it's already done all this for you. It just saves you a little bit of time. But if not, here's where we are. I'm going to go ahead and turn this background off because it's a little distracting. I'm going to click on my text tool, and I want to use that font that we just downloaded. So I'm going to click on my fonts and have it find it for me. So it was spelled SHL, and there it is. Click on it. And I'm going to type something that is slimy, a slimy-ish word, because this whole thing is slime-based. You can type whatever word you want. I am just going to type slime. Now, as we're used to knowing by now, Photopea likes to start everything with a size of 24. We don't want it to be 24. So I'm actually going to cancel that. Make my size as big as I can to start with, and then type, because now I'll be able to see it. Now, the neat thing about the Sllme text is lowercase and uppercase are the same letters. They only have one font style. So it doesn't matter that in this case, the first word I typed was all caps. The second word I typed was all lowercase. They're exactly the same. Okay, so you don't need to worry about uppercase or lowercase. I'm going to click my OK, my check mark. Now I want this text to be as large on the screen as I can possibly get it. So I shouldn't have to explain how to do this, but I will just in case. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to go to Free Transform. It's going to give me my little marks. I'm going to start with the corners to keep it proportional, just because it's easier to make things larger in that instance. But as with any of the text ones that we do, you don't have to keep it proportional. And now I can drag it wherever I want it. In the middle, looks pretty good. If I wanted it wider, if you're doing something other than the word slime, you might want to make it taller. Like if you're doing something that's a really long word, your width is going to fit, but your height is going to be still really short. Just grab your top one and make it bigger. We don't care about proportional when we use fonts. So now I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I need to change the color of this font, of this word. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Character. Now notice I still over here have my Sllme text layer chosen. On my character, I'm going to click this black, and I'm going to put in a hex code number. And my hex code number is 72A726. When I click Tab, it'll show me that's a green color, and I'm going to click OK. Okay. And now my font is green. My word is green. I'm going to right click. I'm going to get rid of this character because it's taking up space. Right click on Sllme. Now remember, when you are using a Chromebook, that you can either hold the Alt key down and click on it. That will give you a right click menu, or you can hold your two fingers apart like snake fangs. I held my Alt key down, clicked on my layer, got my right click menu, and I'm going to convert it to a smart object. Now I want to hold the Alt key down again, bring up my menu. I want to duplicate the layer, and I want to change this fill to 0, all the way down to 0. And then I want to make 3 more copies. So right click, duplicate layer, right click, duplicate layer, and duplicate layers. Now I have a total. I have my original, I have copy, 2, 3, and 4. I am going to turn off the visibility on all of the copies. Working with my original copy, I'm going to double click on it so that it brings up my layer style menu. Clicking bevel and emboss. I click on bevel and emboss. And I'm going to make a bunch of changes. So this is, when I'm done making the changes on mine, it's a good time to pause yours while you go do your changes. So I'm going, first of all, to change the contour, just here in the middle, to cone inverted. Oh, it doesn't call it cone inverted in this one. It calls it valley. So it's this third one right here. Okay. Now, if you click on this little arrow here, you'll get an option to show them as thumbnails or a list. Right now they're thumbnails. If you change it to list, they're a little easier to find. And you're looking for valley. And then you're going to change the style up here to inner bevel, the technique to smooth, the direction to up, the depth to 130, the size to 45, the soften to 10, the angle hopefully yours works faster than mine, to 20. You want to make sure the global angle is unchecked. Oops, now I've got to go change that back to 20. Okay, the contour we already did. This is the highlight mode. We want to change that to linear light. So I have to scroll down to linear light. It's right here. And it did not change. There we go. The opacity for this layer is going to be 50. I want to change this color right here. I don't want it to be white. I want to change this color to, I'm going to use my hex code again, to CCB89C. And it's a beigey color. Click OK. My shadow mode, which is the second one, is color burn. So color burn is up here. I want this opacity to also be 50%. And I want to change this color to 37462C. Click OK on that. Okay, so these are my final settings for this. Okay, for the bevel and emboss. The next thing I want to do is I want to click the word contour right here. And I'm going to change this contour to, actually, I'm not going to change this contour. I'm going to keep this contour as linear. And the range is 50%. Okay, so that's the contour. Next one we're going to click on is Inner Glow. It's down here. Let's go ahead and click on Inner Glow. Oops, I got to check my check mark here for contour. Okay, so now I want to check my checkbox for Inner Glow. Click on the words Inner Glow so that I can make the changes I need to make to this screen. I'm going to change my blend mode to normal, my opacity to 100%, noise is going to stay at 0. The color, I'm going to double click on my color box and change that to a hex code of D5FFB0. Which should be a light green color. The technique is precise. The source is center. The choke stays 0. The size goes up to 150. The contour stays linear. The range stays 50. And the jitter stays 0. Okay, so here are your final inner glow numbers. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a gradient overlay. So I'm going to click on the box to check it, click on the words for gradient overlay, and I'm going to change these settings. I'm going to change my blend mode to multiply, the opacity to 100%. I'm going to come back to the gradient in just a second. Style linear, angle 90, scale 100%. So the only thing we have left to do is change our gradient. So I'm going to click on the gradient box. Now we use this, double click on the gradient box. We use this in another assignment. These are called stops down here. Right now, I have a stop at 0, I have a stop at 100%, and they go from black to white. So on my left stop here, which is black, I'm going to click, and it's going to tell me down here that it's at 0 position and it's black. Click on the color and change the hex code to D7, 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 which is a pale grayish brown, brownish gray. It's a pale color. Click OK. For my color picker, I'm going to leave the white stop, which is this one here at white. If yours isn't white, double click it once here, double click it here to change it, and you guys know how to change colors to white by now. I'm going to click OK to get rid of my gradient editor. And next I need to work on my outer glow. So now I'm going to check outer glow. I'm going to click on my outer glow words. And now I'm going to change these settings. This blend mode is going to be multiply. My opacity is going to go down to 70%. Noise stays 0. My color is going to change to a hex code of 006511, which should be a green color. Click OK on that. Technique is softer. Spread is 50%. Size is 40 pixels. The contour stays linear. The range goes up to 75%. So these are your settings for your outer glow. Next, we need to do our drop shadow. So I'm going to click on the box for drop shadow. I'm going to click on the words for drop shadow. Blend mode, multiply. Opacity, 75. Color, hex code 294400, which is a dark green. Click OK. Opacity 75. Angle is 90. This time you want to keep the global angle checked with a distance of 75 pixels, a spread of 0, and a size of 30. We have done all of our layer styles for that layer. So this is your drop shadow information. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. When you click OK, you will end up seeing your text, which has been invisible to you, not visible, for all this time. You can see all the changes you made. So you went from something that was pretty boring to pretty simple, or to pretty cool. Now we are going to, so we still have all these other copies here, these 4 other copies here that are turned off. We're going to leave them turned off for now, but we want to duplicate this layer we just made. So I'm going to right click or alt click and duplicate layer, which will give me copy 5. Okay, so now I have my original copy. I have copy 5. I'm going to double click on this layer to bring up my layer styles again. And I want to, on this layer, uncheck outer glow and drop shadow. And then click OK. Now, still clicked on copy 5. I'm going to go to Filter, Filter Gallery, and in the artistic panel right here, I want to choose Plastic Wrap. Over here on the side, my highlight strength is going to stay 20. My detail is 15. Smoothness is 15. I'm going to click OK. And now I've got a little light in the center. It has popped open this menu down here. I'm just going to click on this little arrow right here to make it go away so I can see everything still. Now for this layer, copy 5, come here to where it says normal for the blend mode for this layer. We want to change to luminosity. So luminosity is way down here. It's the last one. So I'm going to click luminosity on that and see how it's sort of made that glow now. Still staying on this layer. I'm going to go use a filter we've used before, the blur layer that I don't like to say the word. You really should learn that. And I'm going to change the pixels on that to 3. Click OK. Okay. Now would be a really good time to save just in case, because now we're going to start working on those other layers. So, because all of these layers here are going to get changes made to them. So I'm going to turn on the visibility for the layer above it. And the fill on this layer here is at 0. That's why you can't see it. So nothing's going to change when you turn that visibility on. So we're going to double click it and start making some changes. Starting with bevel and emboss. Inner bevel, smooth, depth, size. Size goes to 25. Soften goes way down to 3 on this one. Our angle goes to 120. The contour will change to stairs. The Highlight mode, which is this first one, stays as linear light. The color changes to D7C 8B4. Okay. The shadow mode is color burn, but the opacity is going to go all the way to 0. Now we're not changing the color on this one because the opacity is at 0, so it doesn't matter. Oh, we need to change the opacity on this layer, on the first mode layer, the linear light one, to 75, and then the color burn one to 0. So that's our bevel and emboss layer. Click on the word contour. Click on the contour layer, and I'm going to choose Sharp Hills. It's this one right here, called Sharp Hills. And my range is going to be 50. Next, I'm going to work on my inner glow. And my inner glow settings, my blend mode is color burn. The opacity is 20%. The color on this one is black. Actually, black right there. That makes my life easier. Technique precise. Source on this one is edge. My choke is 0. The size is only going to be 20. The contour is linear. The range is 50. And this is the only settings we're setting for this layer. So this is the copy layer. We're going to go take a look at what it looks like now. And we're going to turn on copy layer 2, and it's time to change those blend modes. Copy 2, starting again, bevel and emboss. Inner bevel, smooth, with a depth of 100, a size of 40, a softness of 3. My angle is going to stay 120. I'm going to change this one back to my valley as my contour. My linear light with a color of D7C 8B4, which is actually the color it already was defaulting to, for me at least. Then the bottom one is multiply. My color on this one is 95C333. I'm going to click on my contour box to make sure it's checked, but I'm not going to make any changes. Oh, I need to change this opacity to 70 and this opacity to 75. So these are my bevel and emboss settings. Make sure contour is checked, but I'm not going to make any changes. So I don't need to worry about any of that. Okay, before we go on to changing the layer styles for copy 2, we need to go back into Google Classroom and get another file. So you have one more file in that in the assignment, attached to the assignment, and it's called granite.pat. When you open it up, it's not going to give you a preview. Okay, so just go ahead and download that so that it's in your download file, because we're going to need it for our next step. I'm not going to change its name, so I want to be able to find it easily. Download's complete. Life is fantastic. I'm going to go back to Photo Editor, go back to Photopea, and start working on the changes for this one. So as usually, we start with bevel and emboss. Bevel and emboss is inner bevel, smooth, up, 100, 40, soften of 3, an angle of 120. Our contour is valley. Our mode is linear light. Our first color is D7C 8B4. And with a opacity of 70. Our second one is the shadow mode of multiply. And our color is 95C333 with an opacity of 75. You want to make sure the contour is checked, but we're not going to make any changes. You want to check texture, and we're going to make some changes to that one, so I need to click the words. I want to click on pattern and click this little down arrow right here. I'm going to load pattern. When I click that, it's going to bring up my files, and this is where I'm going to load the granite that I just brought in. So this granite.pat is a pattern. I'm going to open that. The pattern has been added. Now, for some reason, it doesn't always change it. So I'm going to double check, go back in it. It should be this bottom one down here, the last one. It's called gray granite. I'm going to click on that. The scale is 700. My depth is 70. Next, I'm going to do my inner glow. So I'm going to click my inner glow checkbox. Check my inner glow settings. Blend mode stays to color burn. Opacity stays at 20. Color stays at black. Precise, edge. Spread is 0. Size is 20. Contour stays linear. Range stays 50. So we don't make any changes on that one. And we're done with the settings for that layer. So now we've got slime, copy 5, copy, and copy 2 done. It's time to work on copy 3. And we know how to do this part by now. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. Double click it. Double click it. Starting with bevel and emboss. Inner bevel, smooth, with a depth of 135. And a size on this one of 80. Soften it to 8 pixels. Angle is 120. Global angle unchecked. We're going to change the contour of this one back to our sharp hills. Our highlight mode, which is this first one, we're going to change from linear light to color dodge. And the color does not change. The opacity stays at 70. The second one, we leave it multiply, but we're going to lower our opacity to 0. So we don't need to worry about the color. We're going to click on contour, and it's not going to change. We're going to uncheck the texture box, however. That's all we're doing to this layer is just the bevel and emboss and the contour. And we're going to click OK. Now I forgot to make it visible before, so I'm going to make it visible now. Okay, and we're going to go to copy 4, turn it on, double click it, and change our bevel and emboss settings on this one to inner bevel, smooth, 135, up. The size on this one goes down to 15. The soften goes down to 2. The angle stays 120. Our contour on this one is this one right here called 2 hills. Okay, so we're going to change it to 2 hills. And the first mode is going to be screen with a new color, a color of F9, D, B8. I forgot where D was on the computer, on the keyboard. And then we're going to the next, the opacity on this one goes up to 75. The shadow mode stays in multiply, and our opacity stays at 0. So it doesn't matter what color we have there. This time for our contour, we're going to change our contour on this one to valley, and our range will stay at 50. And we'll click OK. And somehow this got turned back off again. So now when you have them all done, they've all got an effects set now. You can turn them all off to see what you did to each one. And it'll go down layer by layer. Some of them are really, really subtle. Some of them are not. They're a little harder. So I noticed a big difference. This one was a big difference. It added a glow in the center. That one added the edges of all the words. This one created these funny lines in here in the words. This one was the pattern. So that one's subtler. I don't see much on that one. And then this was the final one, made it a little bit lighter, the whole thing a little bit lighter. I'm going to turn my background on so that I can see it on top of my background. I'm going to do a file save as. Because I want to change the name of it. So I'm going to click File, Save As. I'm going to save this one as my Sllme Text. The M button on my keyboard does not work. Sllme Text. I can save it in the downloads. That's fine. I can save it in my Google Drive. That's fine. If you've made a multimedia folder on your computer, that's great. That's the best place to put it. In fact, that's where I'm going to put mine and save it and attach that. I don't necessarily want to save it on my Sllme background because if I need to do it again or I need to make any changes to it, I could keep both of them if I need to. But I'm going to attach that to my assignment and I am done.